Each year, more than 300,000 South African learners who successfully complete matric do not progress into any form of post-school education or training, primarily due to financial constraints. Now, this figure is drawn from enrolment data published by Statistics South Africa and the Department of Higher Education and Training, which shows that fewer than half of young people aged 18 to 24 are enrolled in universities, TVET colleges or other post-school institutions, despite many meeting academic entry requirements. International research supports this trend. UNESCO and the World Bank have both identified South Africa as facing a significant structural gap between secondary school completion and post-school participation, with financial exclusion at the point of transition cited as a key contributor to youth unemployment and inequality. To talk about this now, we are joined by TJ Malamule. He's the CEO of the TTI Group. Good evening. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
What is the hardest part for would-be students, once they've matriculated, to access funding? Why is it so difficult? It's
difficult for different reasons. Mostly it's information, especially if you look in the outskirts. If someone is somewhere where I come from, in Palabora, Luleka, and in the deep rural, it's not easy to get such information that there might be some sort of funding.
How should they go about looking for funding? For argument's sake, in the United States, you often see on movies, they'll say, yeah, I'm still paying off my student loan or whatever. In South Africa, we don't really hear that so much. Do banks not give student loans? Or is it rare?
They do, but it's rare. You know that if you have to get a loan from the bank, there must be some sort of collateral and other things that gets you to qualify for a loan. And that's where we come in our organization, trying to bridge that gap in a way of funding those students, but not as a loan, but as a grant. So we work with large corporates for us to be able to help such students, for them to be able to access university.
And how do students know about organizations like yourselves?
We are everywhere on social media. We try, like now we're on SABC, we try to send the word as much as possible, as far as possible, for all these students to be able to have access to that information, for them to be able to apply with us.
How do you get funding from organizations? What makes you different?
Us as a company or the students? Okay, as a company, what we do is that we have a wraparound program that we put together that includes psychosocial support, that includes also dealing with students' wellness throughout the year. We don't just dump the funds, but we take care of the students from year one until they finish. And then at the final year, we prepare them for the world of work. And as one of our sister companies, we work together to be able to push for them to get internships or be placed with one of our partners.
How do you attract sponsorships from large organizations?
We technically are professional beggars. So we go in every Monday, we wake up, we think about how do we get more funding. So we knock at all these doors and trying to get large corporates to be able to assist us. When they help us, also obviously there's a rebate that comes from either SARS tax, and also they do get BEE points for sponsoring students. So that's what get most of our funders fund us, either for BEE points or to get tax rebates.
Would you say that one of the difficulties facing these young people is the screening of them for these loans, and not just loans, but like you said, grants?
Yes.
But generally speaking, do you say that the screening of these students is sometimes a little too difficult?
I know it's very difficult because most of our funders that gets us money, they are looking for someone who's passing with 75% average. And if you look at it, it's more difficult for a lot of students to be able to get into that. And we try to deal with them on a way that if you are in our program, we start getting you tutors, mental health, so that when you're in university, you can be able to move from year one to year two. Because if you fail somewhere along the way, the funders are not able to fund you going forward. So it's a bit difficult, but we are there for them.
How does your business make money?
Obviously, we charge a percentage from whatever that we do.
What is that percentage?
Not a lot. The whole model is to assist more students as much as possible, other than us just making money. We are what we are called social entrepreneurship. So we're not just there for the money, we're there for the students. The more the students we get out of the system, the better for us. We're looking mostly at this, like they are called the NEET, not in education, employment or training. Those students that are there, those are the most mostly our targets, that if we can be able to help those students, then they have the skills, then they have employment, then we build a better economy that everyone can be able to live in and thrive.
Would you say that you are getting your message out there? You mentioned social media.
Sure.
You're on the SABC tonight. How do you reach students in the rural areas who perhaps aren't that au fait with social media or exposed to it as much as others?
Thank you. So we do have a program that goes out into these rural areas. We partner with high schools. We go to these high schools, we go there and we give them information. At times, we'll go with a laptop and a router at a rural village to get them to apply live while we are there on the school. Because some of the best students, if you know, are in the country, are in some of the most rural villages. And then we try to go and find the students other than them finding us. So we do go to them.
If you give a grant to a student
Sure.
as your organization and they complete their degree or their diploma or certificate or qualification, is there any responsibility or onus on them to then continue, not continue, that's the wrong word, but is there any, do they have to work for you, not work full time,
Yes.
but do they have to give back?
No, so what we're doing what we call a paid forward model. They don't have specifically to work to us, but as you know that there's a high level of unemployment in the country, so what happens is that we will get them attached to one of our sponsors, and then they would work for the sponsor in a way to help themselves. Most of our sponsors don't want a work back. They want the students just to finish the qualification, then do their internship, so then they can be ready for the workplace.
That's quite impressive that, you know, they will still then work for the company who has provided them the sponsorship, if you like.
Yes.
And then by so doing, mentor other students going through the system. That's the idea, isn't it?
Yeah, so we have students in all campuses. Like, for instance, I'll give an example. If a student comes from Malamule and they are at UCT, TUT, VUT, or one of all these universities, when they get there, there's at least 10 to 15 to 20 of our students that are there. And their job is to take care of the students that are coming into the program, specifically from the first year. Because most of these students, you come from where I come from, you get to Gauteng, you see these lights, you've never seen as much light as possible. So you need someone to be able to hold your hand. So throughout all universities and TVET colleges, we do have students that are specifically, some of them are on our payroll, that are taking care of other students. So we have a good wrap-around program that gets to help us.
Thank you so much for coming in this evening and just sharing more information on what is available out there for our students.